Hello friends, you are watching Demon God Gaming and hope you guys doing well, and I am back with another guide, and today's guide is about Survivor. So I have uploaded many killer guides, but in today's guide I am going to talk about Survivor. So let's talk about movement. So if you move your joystick left and right, your character moves left and right. That's simple. Same way, if you move your joystick upward and downward, you move forward and backward. Now let's talk about screen. If you rotate your screen right side by dragging the screen in the right side, your character looks on the right side. Same goes for left side. But if you pull your screen upward and downward, you look above and below you. Okay. Now when you're moving and you want to look at the right side, what you need to do? When you're moving forward, you need to move your joystick to the left side and your screen to the right side. That way you can look in your right. See, you can see to your right. Same way, if you move your joystick to the right and your screen to the left while you are moving forward, you can look on your left side. Now what about the when you are running in the backward? You have to move your joystick to the left and your screen to the left to look on the left side, and your joystick to the right and your camera to the right to look on the right side. That's how the movement works when you are playing as a survivor. This is how you can control your camera movement, and you can see everything around yourself. The same movement logic also works in BGMI. Who plays BGMI, they know how to do this. Don't depend on the I button. To be honest, I button is very risky to use because it shifts your vision very quickly. If you do movements like this, you can loop killers very well. Okay. So Billy is waiting here for me. Now on this map I am going to talk about many common tiles, and now let's talk about the 360. So how 360 happens? When you are moving forward, you move your joystick to the left side and your screen to the right side to do a 360 on the left direction. Now let's do again. Move joystick clockwise, anti-clockwise, and your screen right side. Let's try again. Move forward, anti-clockwise joystick, screen on the right. Then you do a 360 to the direction of left. Now to do the 360 on the right side, when you are moving forward, you move your joystick clockwise while you move your screen to the left side. So you do a 360 on the right side. Okay, so this is how you do 360 on both when you are moving forward. But what about the backward? When you are moving backward, okay, my 360 aren't that good, but this is how you do 360. When you are moving backward, you need to rotate your joystick anti-clockwise and your screen to the right if you want to do a right side 360. Okay, so first I am demonstrating you how to do the 360 in the forward direction, then we will do the backward. Now let's go for the backward. Now I move my joystick clockwise and my screen to the left side to do a left direction 360 when I am moving backward. So let's do it. Okay, did not happen. Okay, this is how do a left direction 360 while moving backward. 360 are tough, but doesn't work on higher tiers that much. And always use your 360 while you are injured, not in your healthy state. Now let's go for the right direction. While you are moving backward and you want to do a 360 on the right direction, you rotate your joystick anti-clockwise and your screen to the right side. So you do a 360 while moving backward in the right direction. Now on this map I am going to talk about many common tiles, and from the next video I will make guides on how to loop on every map. So let's talk about the common tiles here, and I will not talk about the common tiles like TL walls, short wall gym, long wall gym, Z wall, shack on other maps, because these tiles are very common, and C wall gyms. Okay, and some of the filler palettes. These tiles are very common on many maps, so I am not going to talk about these tiles anymore after this video. So let's talk about the iconic tile of Coldwind Farms, the Harvester. Now harvester has two vault location but has only one climbable area for survivors. Okay, survivors can come here and can vault this location or this location. But if you are going for vault on the left side, you need to see you need to calculate the distance between you and the killer. The right side vault is the safest vault, but sometimes killers can climb from the other side and hit you. Let me bring Billy here, then I can tell you how to do it. Stop, otherwise you will down me. Okay, if Billy is there, don't go for the left vault, go for the right vault. Now Billy, please come upward. Now when you take the right vault, killers can climb this area. Let me show you how. Billy, please climb. See, they can climb from that area, can hit you. So be careful when you're going for the right side vault. Now let me show you how to do it. When you vault the right side, if you see the Billy is there, you vault the right side. Let me show you again. If this much distance you have, go for the right side and immediately drop. Why? If you drop, killer had to vault the vault location, or even if the killer climb from this area like this, they had to drop and then chase you. You can see the killer climb that area, you move here and wait here. This is a good check spot, this tire area. You can check there, or you can rotate back here and can have another vault on the left, on the right. I say always go for the right side vault. Left side vault is very risky. If you have much distance that killer can get you again, you can go for it. Billy, please, if Billy is here, like the killer is here, you go for the left vault, not the right vault. Why? If you take the left vault, the killer most of the time drops from there. So you can fake it also, or you can take the vault if you have balance landing or light. If killer is too close to take the left vault, because if you take the left vault, you are immediately below and you have to rotate the harvester. But killer has to vault this vault location or need to rotate back from the very long distance. Now wait here. You can wait in the locker area and see from where the killer is coming, from the left or the right. Then you decide your rotation. This is how you can loop the harvester. Now let's talk about the long wall gym. Long wall gym consists of a window with a long wall like this and have a pallet right here like this. Now this pallet is not that strong, but that window with the long wall is very strong. So most of the time when you are trying to loop a killer here, you get through the pallet side. If you get through the pallet side, you always get a fastball on the window side. Now this tile has to check spot, like stay here and check if the killer coming through the pallet side or coming from that left side open area. If killer coming from that pallet side, you go and vault this location and wait here. Okay, and if killer is coming from that open area, if they're coming from this open area right here, then you go loop the pallet side more, because killer don't want you to vault through that window. Okay, now if a killer is coming from there, you come here and check. Now if he coming here, you go here on the right side, or if he coming from the right side, you go back for the window. You can go for the window again. The most safe thing in this style is the window side. Now this part here have a broken side. You can see the killer clearly if you practice the positioning your camera. If you practice positioning your camera perfectly, you can see the killer through these cracks. Not every long wall gym has this, like the Macmillan State, Yamaoka and Crotterspren Asylum. This map does not have many cracks in them, so you don't have you can see the killer through. But in Coldwind Farm and in other maps like Edie of Crows, there are cracks, so through those cracks you can see the killer. Okay, and if you vault the window, if you get the window vault like this, immediately position yourself here. Now from this part you can see if the killer coming from your right side like here, or coming from the left side from there, or the killer is going to vault the window. If killer comes from your left side, you position yourself right, and if you coming from the right side, position yourself from the left, but don't stay very close to the window when you're moving, because killers can hit you through the window also. Okay, so these are check spots. From here you can check them, and if killer coming from here, you can go here and then you drop the pallet and they can go for the window again. Don't hesitate to like down the pallet after getting one or two vaults from the window, because if you greed too much, then killer may down you very quickly on this map, on this tile. Now let's talk about another tile. So here we have another iconic tile of Coldwind farm maps, the pig tree. Now pig tree has a pallet here and has a vault location in front of that. Now when you're trying to loop the killer here, always try to get this vault. Okay, you can have another fast vault like here, but killer can catch you from that location most of the time. So when you're trying to loop the killer, try to always get the vault from this direction, not that. You can get another vault, fast vault, but that is risky. Like this, you can go this. You have to always get this medium vault if you're looping the killer from that direction. And fast vault like this you can have, but I don't get the fast vault, but it's very risky. Good killers always hit you on this direction, so always try to get the fast vault from the other direction, and killers always will try to loop you from the opposite direction, so that you always get the medium vault. Now let's get Billy here to demonstrate you how to loop this. Okay, Billy is here. When you're looping the killer, always try to rotate this way, and killer will always try to rotate you other way, so that you don't get the fast vault like this. If killers will rotate you from this side, like Billy is standing there, and will push you to the other side, so that you always get the middle vault. If killer pushing you like that, you drop the pallet, or if you want to greed, you can greed and position yourself, but be quick. If a killer doing a moonwalk like what Billy is going to do like this, you have to see his shoulder and immediately go for the vault. This is a very risky tile, to be honest. Always the situation is 50-50. Either you win the chase or either killer win the chase. So this is how you have to position yourself always inside this tile, and you get a fast vault. Okay, now let's go for the another tile. Now this is called a short wall jungle gym, where you have a window here and a pallet here. Now this tile is a risky tile, to be honest, with this pallet also. Now when you're looping this tile, stay here and check from which direction killer is coming, from the pallet side or the window side. If killer coming from the window side, you go for the pallet side, and if the killer coming from the pallet side, you go for the window. Okay, let's Billy come here. Now see, if Billy coming from here, okay, like he picked from here, and now I will go from here and vault and wait here and see from which direction killer is coming. Now most of the time killer will come from your right side, because that's the best decision to do in the killer's front. When killer is coming from that side, you go for the pallet and rotate from here. Now when you're rotating, you always have to check if killer is double backing or not. How to do that? When you're moving, you have to see the window gaps. Like this way you can see the window gaps. Let's move. Like killer double backing, so you can see that okay, killer's going for that direction, I will go the opposite direction and have the same vault again. Now you have to let the killer pick from that area. If killer is just showing his red stain and you are going for a vault again, killer will hit you. Okay, killer's coming. Now I will come from here. Let's see if killer's double backing or not. You have to check, always check. This is a very risky tile, one of the risky tiles. Now if I went for the vault, Billy would have hit me. So if Billy not coming from here, I will go take the vault. Okay, this is a very risky tile, and you have to patient around and always check where the killer is. In this game, looping means you have to have patience, and you have to waste as much as time you can waste of the killer. This pallet when dropped creates a long side for the killer to loop. Like from that side it's a very long distance, and from that side it's a very long distance. This is why this pallet is also considered one of the semi-god pallets, because if killer don't break this pallet, they can loop you. And like the thing I showed you, like constant vaulting, don't go for constant vault on pallets. Pallets are there to create larger loops, not for vaulting most of the time. When you are vaulting a pallet vault is always medium vault, so killers can hit you on a pallet vault most of the time. You have to know that you can't have a fast vault on pallets without any perk like resilience, and if in future you get the perk fairness, without them you can get a fast vault on a pallet. A pallet vault is always medium vault. Okay, now let's go for another tile. Okay, there is no filler pallet here. Sometimes they spawns a filler pallet here, there isn't. So let's go for another filler pallet if we get. Now this is one of the good examples of filler palette. When you are looping a filler palette, try to greed the filler palette for the first time if you have a decent distance between you and the killer. Like here, Billy is not near me. He have a distance. Now I can come here and you can see there are gaps in the tiles. Through these gaps you can see the killer, if killer is coming from the right or left, and you can position yourself like that. Okay, and there are some people who abuse urban evasion, like they use always urban evasion. So what they does, they crouch here and see the killer from where the killer is coming, because if you are not standing and crouching, killer can't see you. After getting two rounds through that tile, you drop the pallet, and this pallet creates a very large area for you to loop. If killer does not break the pallet, never go through the short side. Like this short side is very risky to loop. You will always get hit on the short side, so always try to loop through the long side. Okay, always loop through this long side, because you can see the killer due to your person perspective, but killer can. And if you are urban evasion user, you can crouch faster here and you can make a fool out of the killer. To be honest, it's a very good perk, urban evasion, in on these styles. Okay, and when killer breaks the pallet, you can still loop this area for a quite a useful time. Now let's go for another tile. We are at shack now, and shack is one of the god tier main styles. Now check spot about shack. You can make any corner a check spot, but you have to consider one thing when you are creating a check spot, that the wall near that check spot is long enough that it will always create a distance between you and killer. Now this is a bad check spot. Why? Because the left side door has a very small wall, and when killer came out from the door, he can immediately hit you. I also sometimes make this check spot and get hit by the killer. Through my experience, I'm telling you, always create check spots like this, where killer, if you get through that door and from this door, it will always a long wall. And if you know that killer is in front of you like that direction, this is the best check spot in shack, because you can see 3 location on this side, and you can check that from which direction killer is coming. But you have to know that killer is in front of you. If he's coming from your back, he will immediately hit you here. So this is a good check spot if you know killer's position. Now when you're taking the window vault, always check the killer is following you. If killer is making a double back, and you take vault, he will come from that direction and hit you immediately. So when you're going for the window vault, always check if killer is following you or not. If you see the killer double back and going for the window vault, you just make a fake and come here and position yourself for a new check spot. Now for a brief moment, position yourself here and check if the killer coming from that direction or not. Then come here and make this your new check spot. If killer is coming from your right, go for left. If coming from your left, go for right. And this is a running check spot, this broken window. Okay, this blocked window. This is a running check spot where you don't stay here, you just check and run. Like if you see the killer is coming from the right, still you go for the left side. And if you see that killer is going for a cross cut, means he is cutting you through the shack, you go for the right side. Shack is one of the best style. Even if it does not have its palette, you can loop the killer here for even 15 to 20 seconds if you know how to play around this. Okay, don't go for the vault from this direction. Most of the time you will not get a fast vault. If you are not lucky, like if you have a ping issue or anything, you will not get a fast vault most of the time. And always go for the other side vault. Okay, and at 5 gens, please don't drop a shack pallet. Take a hit and go for another tile, or go for another check spot near the shack, because shack palette is the best god palette. and if it is gone, you know what happens. Many players can loop the shack without any tension if the pallet is there. If the pallet isn't there, many player gets panicked, and you know what, they lose near the shack. Now let's talk about another tile. Now here we have the C wall pallet gym. It consists of a small L wall like this, a pallet, and a C-shaped wall, long wall like this one. Now this is a 50-50 tile where you either get a down, means killer get a down, or you loop the killer successfully, and there is no good check spot on this tile, to be honest. You can check here or here if the killer coming from which direction to check, but every check spot on this tile is risky because you have another small wall on the other direction and you can't see the killer most of the time. Only safe check spot I can see that is the pallet side. Let me tell you why. Because in the pallet side you have the pallet on your right. If killer coming from the left, you go for the right side, and if the killer coming from your right, you just drop the pallet and extend the chest for a longer amount of time. Let me show you how. Now Billy coming from the left, I have to check if he's coming from the left, and then I will go for the right, and if he's coming from the right, I come here and drop the pallet and extend the chest. This tile is very risky. The moment you drop the pallet, and if killer going for to break the pallet like this, is breaking the pallet, go for another tile. Okay, don't stay near this tile. It's a very risky tile. And this is another filler pallet. Like the first one, you also loop the largest side of the pallet, not the shorter side, and you will get a good value out of this. Okay, so this is a Z wall. It's a Z shaped wall which has a window middle of it. Now when you're looping this tile, consider it's the most risky tile, and you only go for this tile when you don't have a good tile near you. If you're looping this tile clockwise, like this is the clockwise movement on this tile. If you're looping this tile clockwise, don't go for the window vault, because you would not get a fast vault most of the time. I don't know why. Is it a glitch or something? I don't know. Like, see, it's always going to give you a medium vault. If you do the it anti-clockwise, like looping this way, it always going to give you a fast vault. And to get a fast vault on this side, when you are going for clockwise, you need to rotate it very widely. I don't know why. It's a glitch or anything. Like, I'm not getting the fast vault. This is a perfect distance to get a fast vault. See, I have to move wide extra. Don't know why. And it's a very risky, but if you're too close to the window, then you press the vault button, you will get a fast vault. That's why when you are going for the window, always loop it anti-clockwise, then you will always get a fast vault. It's a very risky tile to loop, so don't go for it all the time. And looping means always wasting killer's time, and you don't have any tile near you, not even the Z wall. You only have a tile like this, a rock or a wall like this. Just hug tightly this tile and loop around it the killer. You just have to waste killer's time like this. Hug tightly, and while you are hugging tight, always put your camera downward, like look downward as much as you can, so your collision get reduced, and you can hug this kind of tiles very tightly, so you can waste most of the killer time. Okay, now let's talk about how to hug a wall very tightly. As you can see, I am hugging it very tight, so that I don't create much distance from the killer. Means I don't reduce the distance from the killer and can create much more distance from the killer. So to do that, when you are near a wall like this, you have to position your camera in an angle, and you can hug the wall as tight as you can. So how to do it? When you are moving, you can do this much angle, put this much angle to create the tight hug. But don't rotate the camera too much, otherwise you will start colliding to the tile. Like here, I collided with the window for a brief moment, you notice, right? By hugging tightly, you can create much more distance from the killer. Now here you see, I got stuck on the tile because I have rotated my camera too much. So if you rotate your camera too much, you will get stuck on the tile, and killer will reduce the distance between both of you. Okay, so this is how you will hug tightly a tile. And that's for today. I will see you guys with another video, and for the moment, goodbye.
Age of cybernetics.